Hi and welcome to this lesson. We are looking at writing task 1 for general training candidates. As you're well aware by now, the writing component of the IELTS test has two tasks for candidates, writing task 1 and writing task 2. While the writing task 2 is the same whether you're doing general training or academic, there's a difference between what academic candidates do and what the general training candidates do as regards the writing task 1. And so we are looking at the writing task 1 for general training. My name is Dorcas and I welcome you to this lesson. What does the writing task 1 for general training focus on? For this particular task, you are supposed to write a letter, and it may be a formal, semi-formal, or informal letter, depending on the recipient of the letter as stipulated in the question that you have. To be able to tell whether you're writing a formal, semi-formal, or informal letter, you need to look at the recipient, read the question very well, and get to understand who is supposed to receive the letter. If the person to receive your letter is one that you do not know, and you're writing the letter to such a person because of the position the person occupies, then you're writing a formal letter. So for example, the question says you should write a letter to the editor of a newspaper complaining about some problems in your community. Because you don't have any relationship whatsoever with the recipient of the letter, and you're writing to him or her because of the position the person occupies, which is he or she being the editor of the newspaper, it means that you're writing, or you're supposed to write, a formal letter. Semi-formal letters are written to people we have some form of relationships with. And usually these people are older than us, or they are higher than us in terms of position. And so there are two distinctive groups of people you write. So once you have a working relationship with your boss, your supervisor, the MD of the company, of the company you work with. So that's one, those are ones you have a working relationship with. Then you have the one you do have some personal relationship with, and these are, for example, your parent, your uncles, aunties. And so for these people are older than us, and we have some form of personal relationships with them. So these are the two types of semi-formal letters. Ones you have a working relationship with, and ones you have a personal relationship with. Then the last one is the informal letter, and this is usually written to friends, to classmates, and to colleagues at work. So like I said early on, you would need to read the question to understand who is to receive your letter. Then it may be a formal, semi-formal, or informal letter. This task is supposed to be completed in 20 minutes. Remember, you have 60 minutes for the writing component, and out of that, you use 20 minutes to write the letter. You're supposed to write a minimum of 150 words. Of course, you can go beyond 150, but not too many words, beyond that. 150, 155, up to 180 thereabouts should be just fine for you if you're writing the letter. Remember, you don't have to go even a word below 150. It should be exactly 150 or more. When your band score for the writing component is being calculated, The task 1 takes 33%. Task 1 takes 33% and task 2, 66%. You cannot say that task 1 is just 33% and so it's nothing. It makes a whole lot of difference when it comes to your band score for the writing component. So you'd want to do good with this particular task so that you don't miss out on your band score. Still talking about the writing task 1, general training. Remember to follow the instructions you have in the question. Remember to follow the instructions. Read and understand what you're expected to do before you set out to write. Let's look at a typical task 1 question so that we understand what instructions I'm referring to. The first is that you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. You need to do 20 minutes. You're not using all of the 20 minutes to just write and write and write. You need to be able to read the question, think about it, plan your work before you set out to write. And after writing, still within the 20 minutes, you need to be able to go over your work, proofread it, and do the necessary corrections that you have to do. Another is for you to write at least 150 words. We've already talked about this. It says you do not need to write any addresses. You don't need a writer's address. You don't need a recipient address. And you are asked to begin the letter with a dear. And at some point, we'll get into details when it comes to the types of letters. So who you're writing to will determine what comes after the dear. We'll delve into that when you're looking at the features or the structure of the letter you're supposed to write. Read and understand the instructions. Beyond this, you have another instruction which is very important. It says write a letter. So remember, you're supposed to write a letter, and it gives you some. The question gives you some bulleted points you're supposed to include in the letter you're supposed to write. Remember, you're supposed to include all these bulleted points, whether they are 3 or 4 or 5, you need to include them. Usually, you have 3 bulleted points to include in the letter that you're supposed to write. So this is just about the writing task 1 general training. In the subsequent lessons, we are going to delve into what exactly you're supposed to do. I'll see you in the next class, and have a good day and enjoy, the subsequent ones.